Amazon's web server suffering crippling outage today. Delivery trucks halted for a time.
What if AWS, the powerhouse of the internet, goes down? Yes, you guessed it right. A significant portion of the internet would be inaccessible. Even my website with 10 users would have gone. But how come we have become so dependent on AWS? To understand this, let's go back to the year 2000. What if I told you that the internet we use today was saved by choices made 2 decades ago? In the early 2000s, if you had to host your website or web app, you had to buy real physical computer servers, set them up, and make sure they didn't break down in the middle of the night. It was like the wild west of the internet. But then something amazing happened. AWS, Amazon Web Services, came along. They made it super easy to get the computer power you needed over the internet. It was like ordering a pizza, but for servers, quick and simple. Your website could go live in minutes, not weeks. This promoted innovations, commercialization of web applications, and boosted the economy. But this came at the cost: centralization of the internet. Today, companies like Netflix, Disney, Slack, Pinterest, Airbnb, Stripe, Twitch, Generic Electric, McDonald's, Coinbase, Autodesk, Adobe, Lyft, Samsung, Reddit, Philips, and many more rely on AWS. Airlines, healthcare providers, universities, government agencies depend on AWS for their day to day operations. Even the hosting providers that host other websites use AWS infrastructure. GoDaddy, a domain registrar and web hosting company, in 2018 announced migration of the vast majority of its infrastructure to AWS. The internet is now directly or indirectly dependent on AWS. If AWS goes down, it would have a ripple effect on the internet. For example, if AWS goes down, services like Stripe will be affected, and subsequently, numerous websites reliant on Stripe services would be impacted. It's like a chain reaction, and before you know it, a big chunk of the internet isn't working quite right. But can AWS really fail? After all, it's a market leader with a massive 32% market share in cloud services. AWS is also a major profit source for Amazon, accounting for 74% of its operating profits in 2021. However, no technology platform can guarantee 100% uptime. AWS is not immune to outages or disruptions. Hardware failures, software bugs, network issues, natural disasters, human errors, and security incidents can all cause AWS outages. AWS is too big to fail. To ensure AWS services are always available and have backups, AWS relies on two crucial methods: AWS Reasons and Availability Zones. An AWS region is a geographical area with multiple data centers, entirely separate from other regions. If something goes wrong in one region, others can keep working just fine. Within each AWS region, there are multiple availability zones. These availability zones are designed to be separate from one another in terms of power and network connections. This separation ensures that if one availability zone experiences an issue, services can keep running in another availability zone within the same region. To make sure our systems are strong, we spread our resources across different availability zones within the same region. Sometimes we even use different regions, just like Netflix does, to be ready in case of a regional failure. AWS has faced both minor and major outages over the years. These outages have impacted various AWS services and customers worldwide. Despite these challenges, AWS remains a leading cloud provider. Notable highlights include the following. On June 13, 2023, an incident in the US East 1 region lasted over 2 hours. On January 5, 2023, there was an outage in US East 2, and on July 28, 2022, a power failure affected US East 2. On February 28, 2017, Amazon faced an S3 outage affecting Quora, Basecamp, Buffer, Netflix, Docker, GitHub, Twitch, Adobe, HipChat, Elastic, Zendesk, Heroku, Slack, and others. These are just a few examples, and there have been more. So the problem is not that AWS goes down. It's that when it does, a significant portion of the internet goes with it. The internet, which was supposed to be decentralized, now relies on computers owned by a handful of mega corporations. But should we abandon the cloud and return to our data centers as it was 20 years ago? Probably not. Companies like Dropbox and Basecamp migrated away from the cloud as they grew, driven by various factors, including cost considerations. It's not about abandoning the cloud entirely. By all means, we should continue using the cloud and its services. However, relying on a single provider for the entire internet can be risky, as it can fail without warning. So, the next time when AWS goes down, it serves as a simple reminder that the internet we have built has weak spots, where everything can hinge on a single point of failure. Companies like Netflix invested 7 years to move to AWS. I have made a video on the Netflix journey to microservices and cloud. Click on the video and see you there.